From the eternal, shiny, and chrome halls of Valhalla, it's the DigiGods. And now, please witness a war boy and his doof warrior as they die historic on the Fury Road. Mark Heiser and Wade Major.
Oh, there's a little backstory to how Corey is saying that. Corey, do you have something to say?
Excuse me, but you only used 14 of mine this year.
So here's the story on that. This is for Mario Mendez. So Mario sent in quite a lot of intros, which we recorded. And in addition to all of Mario's, there were, I think, there were something like 8 or 9 or 10 that were Fury Road references. So this one was like one of the last ones we recorded, and Corey was getting very exasperated with the fact that everybody was referencing Fury Road. So I thought that'd be funny.
Well, that movie won, 6 Oscars. Whatever.
Look, I mean, a Mad Max reboot, 30 some odd, nearly 40 years after the fact, gets like a gob of Oscar nominations. When has that ever happened before?
I'm just afraid that nobody is talking sequel.
Well, no, they are. George Miller is. But it'd be on his terms. It's not like
well, he's 70. Okay, he's running out of terms.
You met him, at our dinner. He's like 70.
He is the coolest guy ever.
He's like 70, going on 49.
He is.
There's nothing 70 about that guy.
He's got the cool black rim glasses. He's got the leather jacket. He's the man.
The whole attitude. But you meet him. You're not talking to a 70-year-old dude. You're talking to a guy. I mean, I felt like I was talking to somebody my age.
Well, you are old.
Yeah, I am. So in any case.
Speaking of books speaking of old directors, now Scorsese,
yes,
he's got a new film he finally lined up financing for.
Did they finally get the money for that thing?
For The Irishman.
Oh my god!
This is an actual dream pairing, not Righteous Kill dream pairing, not One Scene in the Heat dream pairing,
not Avi Lerner dream pairing.
No, of De Niro and Pacino.
Yeah,
and I have to say that I'm currently reading the book.
How is it?
The book is called "I Heard You Paint Houses."
Yeah,
and it is about it is a biography told in the first person. It's just a big oral history told by this guy who killed Jimmy Hoffa. I mean, he is the one responsible for killing Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah,
and you're 10 pages into this book, and you just think to yourself, "This is Goodfellas." Remember the Ray Liotta? He gave all the narration. I always want to be a gangster.
Yeah,
that's exactly who this guy Frank Sheeran was.
Yeah,
he wanted to be, and he's telling you the story about loan sharking after he got out of the service, and stealing meat from the local food fair. It's just got Goodfellas written all over it.
Well, I'm dying to see it, and I think The Irishman is a better title than what's the? I know you.
I heard you paint houses.
I heard you. I
heard you paint houses. That's mafia speak for I heard you kill people.
Yeah,
which is usually or sometimes followed up by
you.
Sometimes followed up by I'm also a carpenter.
Yeah, that's
meaning
great.
that I also build. I also make coffins. So I will kill the body and I will get rid of the body. So if you paint houses and you're into carpentry,
you explain that to the head of marketing that's what's going to go on the one sheet. You make that pitch.
Well, his Frank Sheeran's nickname was the Irishman.
Yeah. Well, that's better. I like that a lot better. So speaking of a little bit of housekeeping, so email us, send us Vox boxes, any audio format, whatever you want to do. gods@digigods.com is always the place to reach us. And we will not have a show next week. Next week is going to be a hiatus for the 4th of July weekend. Nice long weekend. We're going to take it off, and I'm probably going to take my daughter to a parade or something.
I'm going to a Dodger Stadium Sweet Night.
Nice.
Yes, every year. Now, a friend of mine.
You eat sweets?
Oh, I will, believe me.
Yeah.
I'll eat everything.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, his father is the late Howard West. Howard West was one of the executive producers of Seinfeld. Every single episode of Seinfeld, at the end, says George Shapiro and Howard West. Every single episode. And so I know Howard West's son.
Very nice.
And Howard West has two, who recently passed away. Mm-hmm. Howard had 2 sets of season tickets.
Nice.
Just because he was incredibly rich. And so anyway, because he has 2 sets of season tickets, one of the perks is that he gets, for him, of course he's passed away, unfortunately, now his son gets it, a night at a Dodger Stadium suite.
Well, that's pretty nice.
So the son, who I don't talk to any more than once or twice a year, but he gathers 30 friends, and we all go to suite night, and literally it's just so much fun. We just eat hot dogs, and around the fifth or sixth inning, you know what they bring around to all the sweets?
No,
the dessert cart.
Oh.
And they bring the cart, they knock on the door, and they open up the door, and there's the dessert cart.
Every time I've ever been invited to a suite at Staples Center, that's the only reason I really have any interest. I mean, if it was for like a Laker game, for sure. If it was for a Kings game, really, I don't give much of a crap about hockey. But I will go just for the dessert tray because they have a Snickers cheesecake.
You know what they all have? They all have. Oh, no, this dessert cart is good stuff. And there's so much food. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ross. And then I get to hear Vince Scully, who's losing it, by the way. Vince Scully, God love him, but he's really losing it.
Well, this is his last season, right?
He has been with the now. For those who listen to the podcast maybe overseas or don't care, Vince Scully is the voice of the LA Dodgers. He has been the voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers, ladies and gentlemen, for 67 years.
Amazing.
He replaced the legendary Red Barber 67 years ago. And Vinny has had that job for 67 years. He's 88.
Unreal. It's incredible.
And he's retiring this year.
Incredible run. They will never, I mean, for some of us.
67 years as the voice of the Dodgers.
And it makes me sad because my daughter will grow up not really understanding what it meant to be in Los Angeles when Vin Scully and Chick Hearn were the only voices for those two sports teams. That was it.
Right. Chick Hearn was the voice of the Lakers for decades.
For decades. It's just
67 years.
That's amazing.
He has been the voice of the Dodgers.
That's awesome. Well,
he's retiring, and he's losing it. By the way, he's 88 years old. And actually, I just played you an audio file.
You did. It's really funny.
There's a pitcher for the Dodgers named Clayton Kershaw, and there's a pitcher for the Nationals named Steven Strasburg.
Yeah.
So, Vinny was previewing the game, and he was supposed to say that it's an amazing pitching matchup between Clayton Kershaw and Steven Strasburg. Unfortunately, Vinny, who's 88 years old, and God love him, he's retiring at just the right moment, wound up saying it's a great pitching matchup between Clayton Kershaw and Steven Spielberg.
Oh, that's great. And on that note, have you seen the BFD?
I have.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
The BFD? No.
Have you seen the BFG?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I get them confused.
Somehow that was the beloved book that I'd never heard of.
Yeah, it's Roald Dahl. Most of Roald Dahl stuff doesn't really get read by kids here for some reason. I guess it's you have to be European.
Like Hans Christian Andersen or something?
Yeah, something like that.
I did see it.
Did you like it? That's okay. Well, that answers the question.
You know what? I think I might have emailed you that. I felt like he was remaking E.T., but he left the magic dust at home.
Yeah.
Somehow it felt very
CGI.
It was, but that guy, what's his name? Mark Rylance. He's great. But it felt very wordy and literal. It didn't really have the magic. I don't know. Melissa Matheson, of course, the late Melissa Matheson did the adaptation.
Yeah.
But you know what it is when you're so absorbed in the CGI.
Yeah.
You're not. That's the priority.
Yeah.
When something is so CGI, you don't care about the magic. You don't care about the characters. Now the girl is great. The girl is so cute and charming. She's wonderful, and Rylance is good in it too. But you know what it is. At the end, I didn't really know not what it was about, but what is the theme that this movie is pushing? What is the point that dreams are wonderful? It just didn't seem to say much to me.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it.
Have not seen it, but I did see freaking Dory. My daughter cannot stop talking about Dory. It's Dory, 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 nonstop Dory all the time. Show me pictures of Dory on your phone. Where's Dory? Show me more video of Dory. It's insane.
Lame.
So they went to while I was doing some writing today. They went and saw Dory for a second time, and now it's even worse than before. And it's making a ridiculous amount of money and cleaning up. By the way, before we get into DVDs and Blu-rays, do you realize that it is entirely possible with Euro? I know you're paying a great deal of attention to the Euro.
Yes, I am.
Cup. Do you realize it is possible? It is theoretically possible for the final in the Euro Championship to be Iceland versus Wales. You realize that? Iceland defeated England today.
Hang on, what?
Iceland eliminated England. Wayne Rooney booted.
I don't know what
Gone.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, moving on. Let's get into some movie things. You know what? I want to hit off some. While you're decompressing, I'm going to hit some foreign language titles that have accumulated a little bit. From Wolf, we have Margarita with a Straw, which is an unusual Indian film. I have some mixed feelings about this, but I guess they're somewhat positive. It's a little bit maudlin and saccharine, to be honest, this thing is. But on a certain level, it's okay. This is basically an Indian film about a young woman, a young handicapped woman, who suffers from cerebral palsy and who undergoes a sort of a sexual discovery and awakening and a coming of age and all of this stuff, and it doesn't sit well with her Indian family and so forth and so on, and it is, again, it's a little bit on the maudlin side. It's like a lot of those movies about handicapped people, but its heart is in the right place, and written and directed by Shonali Rose, and it stars Kalki Koechlin. Now, the part of the problem with the film is that Kalki Koechlin, who is a very popular actress in India, is not really Indian. She's Caucasian. Her parents were German, and she grew up in India and basically stayed there. And she's fluent in Hindi, and she is an actress in Indian movies, and she basically plays Indian, even though she clearly is not. So if that's a hurdle for you, then it's probably going to be a problem. But otherwise, it's not really that big of a hurdle. The film was at Toronto and got pretty good reaction. Koechlin is quite good in the part. She's a very, very good actress. It's just, it's not a perfect film. It's got a few problems. We also have Cemetery of Splendor by Joe, Mark. I dare you to give me Joe's full name.
You know what? Hang on. It's Prathina Prumrong or something. Wait, what is it?
Apachitpong Wirsikatol.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know why? The last name is easier to pronounce because it has a certain rhythm to it.
Yeah.
But you got to get into it.
Anyway. He won the Palme d'Or at Cannes some years ago, the first Thai filmmaker to do so. And very deservedly, this is Cemetery of Splendor. It is typically kind of obtuse, as his films often are, and kind of non-linear and odd and strange. But it's still very, very compelling and magical, and has a lot of really interesting twists and turns to it. It's not the best film he's ever done, but it's very, very good, and it includes a short film, which is not much of a short film. It's about an hour long, deleted scenes, behind-the-scenes stuff, the trailer. But the story is perfectly fine. It deals with soldiers and this sleeping sickness, and it gets into the kind of a weird mythical detour, and you should check it out. It's worth checking out. So that's on Blu-ray from Strand, one of Strand's few intermittent Blu-rays. And then we also have Aferim. Did you ever see Aferim, Mark?
I did not.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. One of the best films I've seen this year. This is an amazing movie. This is from Big World Pictures on Blu-ray. This is a fascinating Romanian film, a Romanian period film. Takes place in 1835, all shot in black and white. And it's about it deals with the kind of the weird feudal structure of the time. There's effectively, I shouldn't even say an escaped slave, but it's true because serfs at that time were slaves, and they're referred to in the film as slaves. And a lot of people I don't think realize, in that part of the 1800s, in the early 1800s, we had slavery here, but they had slavery in Europe too, in places. In Romania, there's slavery. In any case, there is. It's basically about this policeman who has to go looking for an escaped slave, and what happens along the way. And it is fascinating, and the look at the culture and the all the ins and outs of all that. It's really, really an incredibly compelling film. Beautiful on Blu-ray. The black and white is spectacular. The film is Aferim, Aferim ! And it includes Rade Yuda's Sundance-winning short film, The Tube with a Hat, from 10 years ago. Absolutely superb film, Aferim. Highly recommended. From Cohen, who is having me do all kinds of commentaries lately, which makes me very happy, is the new Nicole Garcia film, Going Away. Are you familiar with Nicole Garcia? You ever seen any of her stuff?
About 30, I don't know how many years ago it was. I worked with a girl named Nicole Garcia, and she was so hot. We all had a crush on her.
Are you serious?
Yes. It's probably not that Nicole Garcia.
Yeah, no,
but there was a Nicole Garcia that I used to work with, and she was completely hot.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, anyway, this Nicole Garcia is a very, very fine French filmmaker. This is not available on Blu-ray, which I find rather sad because it's a gorgeous film. So I'm not sure what calculation Cohen made to not do that. But in any case, It is. It's just pretty much a really solid, straightforward French drama, and deals with certain family issues. It all kind of starts with a teacher named Baptiste, who's living in the south of France, and some interesting familial and character relationships. No real easy way to get into it, but it's one of those typical kind of very French character pieces. Worth checking out. Nicole Garcia is a very fine filmmaker. That's called Going Away. Let me get through these as quickly as possible. The Wave. Really actually a much better film than I thought it would be. I'm kind of amazed by this. The Wave is from Magnolia. This did a huge business in Norway. I'm not quite sure how to set this up. There are. This is basically a Hollywood action film audition. Okay,
that was the odd part. I didn't expect much out of it, but it was surprisingly effective.
It's really, really effective. I mean, it's very clear that these people decided, okay, we're going to just make this unbelievable, like, kick-ass Norwegian action film, and when we get it to Hollywood, they're not going to believe what we did or how much we spent on it or what we were able to do. But
absolutely,
isn't that totally what it is?
Yeah, it's good.
It's like hand me a disaster film. Let me be the next Roland Emmerich or whatever the case may be. But
I'm not sure. I don't know who wants to be Roland Emmerich today.
Yeah.
Because Independence Day, Resurgence.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kind of sad, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I'm not going to Roar Otang or however the guy's name is pronounced, but anyway, he kills it in this thing. I mean, it is a really, really well directed film. The idea basically centers around the fjords in Norway, and I mean, tell me if I'm getting this, if I'm confusing people, but in the fjords, right? You can, if there's enough of an earthquake, it can create a tsunami, right? There's like
it's the same here. I mean, when the big one comes to L.A., people are by the ocean, like let's say might be swept away by the resulting.
Well, in here it's like the idea. I don't even know how to geologically explain this. It's like the water gets sucked out of the fjord, right?
Right.
And then it comes back in like 150 feet higher. And any low-lying villages will just get completely buried. So when this happens and all the meters go off, this guy who it's always like the last day at work, right? It's always the
Danny 6 hours to retirement.
He's like got 6 hours of retirement. It's such a stupid old trope, but they keep using it. And he's got his family, and suddenly he thinks, oh, I'm getting transferred, and it's great, and goodbye, and it work. And then next thing you know, the alarms go off, and people are calling him. They're like, we don't think this is, and we think this is the one. And next thing you know, he's got to get everybody up, and people have to get saved, and the family is trapped, and his wife's in the hotel with the kids in the basement, and the kids got the headphones on. It's a pretty amazing movie, right?
Yeah, it's great.
All the water stuff, a lot of set pieces. It's good. It's good. It's solid. Still feels like a Hollywood resume piece, but they really pull it off. It's quite impressive filmmaking. It really is. So yeah, that's a good one. That's The Wave on Blu-ray with a nice lenticular cover, inspired by true events, which is just a completely ridiculous thing. There's never been such a thing ever happening. When they say true events, that means like there was a guy who was a geologist once, and he thought this might happen.
Well, it was inspired by true.
Well, it's inspired. There was actually, I should say this. There was actually one in which they talk about in the film. There was such a tsunami that was like what in 1920, 1910, something like that.
Yeah, that's basically what they're saying is it's based on an idea made up by the writer.
Yeah, exactly. And from Oscilloscope on Blu-ray, gosh, another amazing black and white movie. This is the week for it. The Oscar-nominated Embrace of the Serpent. You saw this, I hope. Embrace of the Serpent? Did you see this?
No.
Fascinating movie. Really amazing. Not really magical realism, but very haunting, because I'm not really a fan of magical realism, but really super awesome, haunting, cool film. The story here, it takes place, there are two stories that are kind of, that sort of parallel each other, one in the present day and one in the past. And the Indian figure in it, the Native American or the Native South American figure, he's kind of a shaman-like figure. It's the same guy in both stories. You know, the idea being that either he's immortal or he ages very slowly. Any case, it is a deeply, deeply cool and intriguing movie. Again, also a little bit difficult to explain. The main story that takes place in the past is about an American explorer who is, going down the Amazon for to perform all kinds of research and how he interfaces with the Amazonian tribes and what it entails for him. And it starts to feel very Apocalypse Now at a certain point. Very.
When you said Amazonian tribes, I was hoping maybe Wonder Woman would show up.
No, I was hoping so too. But
no, I'm checked out then.
Anyway, really a really fascinating film. A lot of people have kind of said that this is sort of addresses the wages of colonialism and whatnot. I think that's part of it, but I think more than anything, it's really it's an existential journey movie, very much, and it really borrows a lot, obviously, from Conrad and
Robert Conrad.
Yes, exactly. Baba Black Sheep. That's it. Yes. It borrows a lot from Conrad, hence all of the Apocalypse Now kind of stuff. But it's just really beautifully done. Really a magnificent film. So, Embrace the Serpent, Oscar nominated. Definitely check that out. Beautiful black and white. And then a few more things here to wrap this out. The Danish film A War, which is also worth checking out. This is from the same people who made the what are you doing? You just dropped your glass. No, A Hijacking. From the same people that made A Hijacking. Tobias Lindholm, and who wrote and directed it. I think I like A Hijacking better, to be honest, but this as a look at Danish soldiers serving in Afghanistan and the commander in particular and what he goes through and how he kind of gets into trouble in one particular incident, and it's all quite compelling. It's pretty solid. So Tobias Lindholm is definitely a director to watch. And last few films here, we've got let's see, Gold from the Kino F.W. Murnau line. This is a rather brilliant 1934 German expressionist movie. Produced by Alfred Zeisler, one of the great producers of the day, directed by Karl Hartl. Again, this is from the Murnau series. Murnau did not make this, but it's from the Murnau library, made by the UFA studios at the time, and a rather amazing early sound thriller from the German film industry of the 1930s. Pretty amazing. It's got all that expressionistic stuff. Has kind of a metropolis feel to it in places. Really amazing. Definitely worth checking out. This is a must-have for your library if you want to get any of those classic silence or early sounds. So, Gold, a nice release. And then let's see. I'll make mention of those at the end of the show.
Whoa, wait, throwing a curve.
Yeah, throwing a curve. If we have a little bit of time, let's get into some new movies.
We can do Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Boo! I hated this movie.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, movie that Wade did not like and disappointed me. Who was directed by Glenn Ficarra and John Requa, two directors I like. I like what they did with they were the guys who wrote Bad Santa. They did a very poor job directing the Bad News Bears remake.
Yeah.
But they did direct I Love You, Philip Morris, which I love that movie.
Hate that movie too.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. This is a comedy, and it is based on a true story. A journalist named Kim Barker. It's based on her memoir called The Taliban Shuffle, Strange Days in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And my issue with this film is that it does star Tina Fey as Kim, but and you can't beat her. My problem with the film is that it didn't quite know what it wanted to be. You know, when you look at a movie like MASH that so effortlessly blends pathos and comedy and war and Catch-22 is like even more absurdist.
Three Kings,
which is a terrific film.
Yeah, the movies that do that effectively, there are a lot of them. This just never gets the tone right.
This never gets the tone right. You know, I don't know whether it's supposed to be a comedy that's dramatic or a drama that's supposed to be funny. I just feel like this thing was all over the place, and it's disappointing. You know, I still think that these guys have talent, but in the end, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, it just cannot really blend the humor and the sentiment and the character as well as it should.
I would agree completely.
Well, thank you, Wade.
Yeah, Eye in the Sky, pretty cool. Actually, I was surprised at how good this was because I'm getting a little bit tired of the movies that are everything pertaining to the war on terror and war in the Middle East and the dilemma of using drones and, is it legal, is it moral, and all of that is just, there's an awful lot of sort of preachiness and hand-wringing that goes on and makes its way into these movies, and you feel like nobody really wants to tell me a story, but Eye in the Sky actually does a very, very good job of it, with a tremendous cast. The late Alan Rickman, gosh, I'm going to miss him. Helen Mirren in a tremendous performance, and Aaron Paul, who continues to do really, really good work in everything that he does. Helen Mirren plays a British colonel in this one and does it very effectively, which I never would have imagined her as part of a colonel. But the idea is about it takes place basically in Kenya or remotely in Kenya, and the involvement of drone pilots and drones that are brought in to basically stop the terrorist attack that they have received intelligence is about to happen. The unfortunate thing here is that Barkhad Abdi, who got an Oscar nomination for Captain Phillips, shows up here basically in a role which makes me think that he's pretty much going to be playing terrorists or playing parts in terrorist-related movies for the rest of his career.
Yes. Okay, he is not a romantic leading man. Okay, have you seen him?
Yes.
Do you know what he looks like?
Yes.
God love him, but I'm just saying there is only one thing that guy can do. I mean, maybe he'll show up in like full prosthetics and some alien makeup or something, but that guy is not going to be making out with Angelina Jolie anytime soon.
I guess. I'd like to see
I don't know why I say Angelina Jolie.
I'd like to see him have a more diverse career, to be honest. But in any case,
what are you gonna put that guy in?
I don't. You know what? I'll find something. For him.
You'll write a movie for him.
I'll write a movie for him. Damn it! I'll make something happen for that guy because I like him. He's a really good actor. He's got a great. He's talented. He is, and he's a non-actor. He just has a raw, naked talent that.
Ew! I don't want to see him naked. I do not want to see him naked.
Anyway, so Aaron Paul plays the American drone pilot in this, who sort of sets everything on fire. I don't necessarily think that this is better than the Andrew Niccol film that sort of dealt with a lot of the same stuff.
What happened to that guy?
He's still around. He's got some new film that's kind of a big deal.
He does?
Yeah, I forget what it is.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Look it up. No, it's not. So in any case, the Andrew Niccol film, Good Kill with Ethan Hawke, I think does a better job of dealing with these issues in like a less sort of obviously Hollywood way. But this still is really, really good. And this is out on Blu-ray and DVD with Ultraviolet from the good people at Universal. Bleecker Street released it theatrically. Universal is releasing it on video for Bleecker Street. Eye in the Sky, Helen Mirren, Alan Rickman, and Aaron Paul, the wonderful Alan Rickman. Gosh, I still can't handle that he's gone.
I know, it's
really
bad
me.
news. It was bad news.
Yeah.
It's been a bad year.
And actually, before you jump into that, what are you doing? You're making all kinds of noise with the mic.
I'm sorry.
Speaking of a bad year, Sally Field in Hello, My Name is Doris. Oh my goodness. They didn't have a Blu-ray to send us, so they only sent us the DVD, and I must say I can't tell you if this becomes a better movie on Blu-ray, but I would be shocked if it did. This includes a commentary, deleted scenes, and an alternate opening. I don't think any of that makes a difference. The poor Sally Field plays this odd, sad, frumpy, cubicle drone lady who falls in love with her hot new boss and decides she's just going to cut loose and live life and see if she can't just reinvent her life by attracting this hot dude. And there are all kinds of poignant things that it tries to say. Michael Showalter is the director here. There are all kinds of poignant things it tries to say about aging and coming out of your shell and being a
sounds like a British film.
Being a hoarder and all these other things.
Sounds like a British film. If it starred like, I don't know, Helen Mirren or Imelda Staunton or Jennifer Saunders, you'd probably be cracking up.
Look at the big bow in her hair.
I know. It's called I'm 70 and have not been asked to top line a film in 20 years, and this is the best I can do.
Hello, my name is Doris. I found it so sad and depressing.
You love it. Who's talking next week?
You go ahead. Fire away. Go at it. Have at it.
Next is the surprisingly okay Kung Fu Panda 3. I have to say that a lot of these animated films are good.
Mm-hmm.
Pixar films good.
I don't like.
I'm not a huge fan of the Kung Fu Panda series.
Can't. It doesn't work for me.
It does. It's not my favorite, but I will say,
I'm amazed it's gotten to 3 in that series. But anyway,
I will say though, this one is. It's you know what I enjoy the character. He's this bumbling guy who the reason I think Poe resonates with people who of that age is that he's trying to do the best he can. He's a bumbling guy who finds his true heroism and his true power, and I think that resonates with the young kids who watch these things. And I got to say, it looks good. It doesn't ignore the adults in terms of making sure they don't fall asleep. And I think this thing's well crafted. Again, it's not my favorite animated series. But I would normally think that Kung Fu Panda 3 would be a bunch of crap, but it's pretty good, colorful, funny, a little bit moving. I get it, Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Bruce Willis. What the hell happened to Bruce Willis? Bruce Willis film used to mean
doing
something.
Anything now.
He does
doing
all.
Anything.
He's doing all this straight to DVD, straight to Blu-ray crap. I don't understand.
Apart from Looper, he has not really done an A film in like 5, 6, 7 years.
No, it's just
Crazy.
terrible.
I know.
Anyway, in Precious Cargo, he plays a crime boss, and he hunts down the thief who double crossed him. And the thief is played by Claire Forlani. And there was a day when Claire Forlani...
I still love Claire Forlani.
Huh?
I love Claire Forlani.
Actually, I have a friend who slept with Claire Forlani.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I'll give you his initials. I'm not going to say this.
Yes. Really? Okay. All right.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
You do?
Yeah. Wow. That's
he's had a thing. I'll tell you, Z. He's done a whole thing.
Okay.
He's had a life that I have not had.
I think I'm going
a life that is too late for me to have.
I think I'm going to be getting on the phone tomorrow to get that story.
That story's like probably 25 years old.
That's fine.
Better when she's 30 than when she's 55.
You know what? Because Claire Forlani was also in that Jackie Chan movie.
Star Wars?
Title of which I'm forgetting. The gift, the thing, whatever. Anyways, Jackie Chan movie that my wife actually worked on. So, and I remember seeing I saw a number of early cuts that it just, I won't get into all the drama, but that thing changed like 87 times.
Okay, that story is not as good as my friend
No, I know.
with Claire Forlani.
I didn't intend for it to be. I'm sorry. Would you like me to bore you some more?
Oh, believe me, we've been doing this podcast for years.
Oh my gosh, I have to tell you. First of all, some of the funniest stuff I have seen in months. My daughter, of course, loves Peppa Pig. We all know this, right? So the guys who created Peppa Pig, they have another series which they created after Peppa Pig, which is Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom. Ben and Holly. Ben is an elf. Holly is a fairy. Fairies and elves have this wonderful little kingdom together.
They like to be called gay. They don't like to be called fairies.
There are episodes of Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom where the gnomes show up, and the gnomes are a little bit bigger. And they honestly, I kid you not, this is some of the best British comedy I have ever seen. The gnomes are so irritating. They talk forever. They never go away. And this one gnome, every time he opens his mouth, I just sit there. I'm literally in tears. And my daughter thinks I'm crazy because she doesn't understand why I'm laughing so hard. I know an interesting story about sticks.
Yep,
it just doesn't get any better than that.
Checking my phone, Wade. Checking my phone.
Okay, never mind.
By the way, speaking of checking my phone, I don't know what that meant. The final Star Trek trailer came out today.
Yeah, how did it look? I saw that it came, and I was so not interested. I just said, I bet Mark will tell me, and I won't need to watch it.
You know what's interesting is that you can tell that Paramount is a...
Did they do this the Tarzan thing?
Uh-huh.
Have you paid attention to the Tarzan first trailer and then the Tarzan second trailer?
No. What piece of garbage that movie looked like?
Yeah. This is the difference. This is the difference between the two Tarzan trailers. Sam Jackson, all over the first one,
right?
Non-existent in the second one.
Really?
Cut out completely. Gone. No Sam Jackson.
The only
anywhere.
reason I would see it.
But he's terrible in the first one. Tarzan, Lord of the Apes. It's like, what movie did you just walk in from? Are you playing the character from Pulp Fiction? What is this?
Blame the director.
It's horrible.
Okay.
Why is he in that movie? Why does Sam Jackson have to be in every blockbuster?
Who at Paramount said Tarzan? Good call. Let's make that. Anyway, so the Star Trek trailer does two things that feel desperate.
Yes.
One is the trailer includes Liam Hemsworth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was in the first one for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So you've got that shot of Liam Hemsworth, which probably tries to convince a bunch of, you know, let's say women who would never see a Star Trek film that, you know,
because Chris Pine is so ugly.
Miley Cyrus's fiance is in this movie.
Yeah.
And the other thing they do is the trailer is prominently features I believe it's an old song, but it's new to this film, a song from Rihanna.
Yeah.
So there's a Rihanna song written by Sia, whatever her name is, Sia.
Yeah.
And so the song premieres on the trailer. So you've got Liam Hemsworth and Rihanna in the Star Trek trailer, which just says to me they're trying to lard this thing up with names and music that'll appeal to the 18 to 34 kids who don't really want to see this movie. But if they figure Liam's in it and there's a Rihanna song over the end titles, maybe they'll check it out.
So they made a second Big Fat Greek Wedding, Mark.
That's just terrible.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
You know what? That movie, it was a moment in time.
Oh my god!
It was lightning in a bottle. It found its moment, and then that's it. The end.
Do you know how long I fought not seeing that movie because there were so many people. It like people within my family circle and my wife's family circle, people who never go to see movies, who are of an older generation. They don't see movies. They watch Murder, She Wrote. They watch, you know...
Ironside on Meat TV?
Yeah, exactly.
I love Meat TV.
Yeah, they watch, you know, that's what they watch. And suddenly these people were saying to us, oh, have you seen Big Fat Greek Wedding? You've got to see the Big Fat Greek Wedding.
You just want to pinch that movie's cheeks, don't you?
Oh, you did just want to... They love the movie. Oh, they loved it so much. And we just looked at each other and we were like, you know what? If they like this movie, we're not going to see this movie. And so I resisted seeing it for the longest time, and finally I caved because everybody had to see Big Fat. Oh, yeah, Tom Hanks' wife is a Greek. Oh, yeah, I love it. Whatever. So, fine, fair enough. It was lightning in a bottle. Nia Vardalos, you know, had her moment. And now, directed by Kirk Jones, written by Nia Vardalos, here comes a sequel way too long after the fact. They've got a daughter, and there's all the usual Greek shtick, and it's the same junk all over again, except, and once again produced by Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, all very well-intentioned. We love Greek people. It's wonderful. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that really, really got me with this movie, is the fact that Lainey Kazan, who is a lovely woman, and I interviewed her years ago when she was performing at some, you know, bar and grill in Hollywood and doing a lot of old standards, and she's a great singer and a lovely lady and very sincere. But I got to tell you, man, Lainey has had work done like beyond all human comprehension. It's almost like it's like CGI. It's crazy.
I know.
She doesn't look like herself anymore.
Don't they realize that they don't look good?
I just don't understand it. Anyway, you know what? God love her. She's wonderful, but that's so distracting in this movie, and all the other shtick, it just gets old really quickly. So anyway, Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, it's got a gag reel and making of stuff, and it's DVD, Blu-ray, and ultraviolet. Doesn't really matter. You could watch this thing streaming. It's not going to lose anything. Lost in translation. Anyway, okay. A few last titles here before we get to the big one. Wim Wenders keeps making movies. I've been on the set of many Wim Wenders films. My wife worked on a couple of them. We went to Cannes, saw one of them on the 50th anniversary of the Cannes Film Festival. Wim Wenders has been a part of my life in many respects. I know tons of people who've worked on many of his films. And that being said, and I had the privilege of moderating an event with Wim for Wings of Desire a few years ago, which was wonderful.
I love that movie so much.
I have nothing but respect for Wim. I think he's a very talented, lovely man, but I have not loved all his movies. He has made stuff like Lisbon Story, which I just think is just boring and philosophical in ways that it's just not entertaining. And then he's made stuff like Till the End of the World, which I desperately hope the unexpurgated version eventually comes out on Blu-ray, because that would be dazzling, wouldn't it?
That's a big word.
That's a big word. But Until the End of the World, good movie, right?
Sure.
The longer version is the one we all want to see because it's just a huge, sprawling thing. Anyway, Wim tends to make better documentaries than anything else, like Buena Vista Social Club, which my wife worked on and which I adore dearly. But this new one, Everything Will Be Fine, feels a little bit half-baked. Good cast. It includes Charlotte Gainsbourg and James Franco and Marie-Josée Coz, who I really absolutely adore and always have. But somehow it feels like one of those half-baked things. James Franco kind of sort of semi-playing himself as this novelist, and then there's this car accident, and you set off on one of these kind of Fearless, like the Peter Weir film Fearless with Jeff Bridges. It winds up being that kind of trajectory, right? You've had a near-death experience, or you've almost died, and it kind of you suddenly change your perspective on life and all that kind of stuff. So that is not handled, I don't think, in the most brilliant way. It feels a little bit undercooked. So I mean, it's still a Wim Wenders film, but it's not going to win any awards like Cannes. Mark, fire away.
Anesthesia stars Glenn Close, Gretchen Mol, Tim Blake Nelson, who also wrote it and directed it, and
I
Corey
love Tim
Stoll.
Blake Nelson as a filmmaker. I really do.
Yeah, I think
like
there's something interesting going on there. I wish his stuff would get a little bit more mainstream play. Sam Waterston, who I've always loved, and anyway, this film is not great. Anyway, it's one of those. You know what it is? It's one of those big sprawling narratives like Crash, which Wade loved and I hated, or what's it called? Babel, whatever.
Yeah, Babel, or even like Magnolia.
Or even Magnolia. So all these disparate stories come together and intersect in surprising ways. Mm-hmm. It all takes place in New York City, and it's the wintertime, and there's a crime, and so you kind of get a sense of like all the things that happened to make this crime a reality. And Sam Waterston plays the university professor, and he's attacked on the street. And so you flash back 1 week, and you get a sense of everything that happened in the previous week that led up to this horrible incident.
Yep.
Kristen Stewart, who's forging herself a terrific career, she has one great scene, which is the only thing she's got really to do in the movie in terms of any sort of, acting workout. Otherwise, it's got a great cast. It's unfortunately, they're fighting with a lot of overwritten dialogue and a lot of behavior that sort of like seems to just service the theme more than it does service actual human behavior. So it's trying to make this big grand gesture, but in the end, it's not really going anywhere. So, I just think that Tim Blake Nelson kind of maybe the themes that this movie is working out meant a lot to him. But it just becomes this big, sprawling, existential, incomprehensible thing that he just could not get a handle on. So I think for him as a director, he might have been just biting off more than he can chew. But it does have a good cast, and we do like Tim Blake Nelson.
I like him a lot.
Yes, you do.
All right, Mark, here's the biggie. Let's talk about this.
The biggie?
The biggie, Midnight Special.
I'm a huge fan of Jeff Nichols. I think this guy is the bee's knees. And when I say bee's knees,
so let's talk about Jeff Nichols for a second, because Jeff Nichols has been on the cusp for a while. And I remember we had a LAFCA voting meeting some years ago before Bob Kohler up and skedaddled to China. He's back now, by the way. You know that, right?
Now, so he's back. So is he back in the group?
I guess so.
By the way, there's a meeting.
I know.
I won't be there.
I'm not going to be there either.
I'm on vacation.
I'm not going to be
there.
But
I have not been to a meeting all year yet.
I know.
Have you?
I went to the last one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to go to one meeting a year in order to vote.
Yeah.
And it's not my fault. I'm going to be out of the country.
It's okay. It's all right.
I emailed Stephen and I said I'm going to be out of the country.
I'm not going to be there either. I'm not going to be there because I don't want to be a part of the discussion that is going to take place.
What's going to take place?
There's a certain discussion about some.
Give me the initials.
I can't do that. But there's a discussion that's going to take place at this meeting that I don't want to be a part of.
Really? Oh, that's what I figured.
Yeah. So
wait,
anyway.
have a second. This is one of those conversations that the listener has no. We're off the reservation. Yeah. So did something happen between the last meeting and this meeting? Because I was not at the last meeting.
I'll explain it to you after the show. It's a very weird trajectory. Very strange.
I know. I'm looking forward to hearing it, but yet I'm not.
Anyway,
at the same time, I'm not looking forward.
Let's talk about Jeff Nichols.
Who's that?
Because Jeff Nichols is an amazing filmmaker.
Yes, he is.
And the last with the Matthew McConaughey thing.
Mud.
Good film, good solid film. But didn't you feel like it was missing a little bit of that something, that kind of mystical, existential spark that
I feel like, here's the thing. I Take Shelter was actually my favorite film of that year.
It's an amazing movie.
And I feel like Mud is the film he would have made before Take Shelter,
Right,
as like
exactly.
trajectory-wise,
Yes.
not after Take Shelter.
So Take Shelter is just this amazing movie that is so provocative and it raises all these really interesting questions. And he seems to have directors, when they land that actor who can be their voice, the voice for their id and their subconscious, that can just speak all the things that they need to say in a movie, that becomes the conduit for their subconscious. It's a gold mine. That's why those directors and actors always work together.
It's like Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, it's more like Scorsese and De Niro, or even David Lean and any number of actors from Omar Sharif to
Okay, David Lean and any number of actors blows your theory.
Yeah,
it's got to be a director who's worked with an actor for a long time.
So Woody Allen and everybody. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. When you find that actor, it's like Fellini and Mastroianni is probably the best example of that. So don't you think that what makes Take Shelter and what makes Midnight Special work is because
of Michael Shannon? I love Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
Very. And yet what's funny with Michael Shannon, and he was so good in 99 Homes, how did he manage to find the core of humanity and almost make us a little bit sympathetic or understanding of the jerk he played in 99 Homes? Don't know how he did that. Anyway, Take Shelter. He's great in it. He even plays something I didn't think he could do, which he plays a father figure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I never thought he was soft enough as a presence to play a father figure.
He's a great
but
actor.
He does. The only thing the movie disappointed me a little bit because I felt like it was building to something, and what it gave me was disappointing. I'll tell you why it was disappointing. It was too much. I felt like you saw. I'm trying not to give it away.
Yeah.
You saw too much of the thing that they were going to. There should have been a smaller.
We'll just say this. This is the story of a kid who has abilities. And as in E.T. and many other movies of this sort, when that exists, then you become the object of pursuit, desire, commodities, research, whatever the case may be, right? So it's that trajectory that we've seen in other movies, but Nichols does some really, really interesting stuff with it, and he takes it in directions that I haven't seen anyone else do. And there's a humanity to it that sort of overrides all of the genre-ness of these movies, which I don't see anybody else doing really, except for maybe even Andrew Niccol, who we talked about earlier. Andrew Niccol is one of those guys who can find the humanity in a genre piece, and I think Nichols does it here too.
I do. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
I wish the wind up was better than the pitch. You know what? I for people who maybe wouldn't want to see this, all I can say is it's a bit like an art house Starman.
Yeah, a little bit. Well said.
By Guy on the Run.
Yeah.
Who is he?
Jeff Nichols is becoming the guy that I always wanted Christopher Nolan to be. Let me put it that way.
Well, now Nolan's doing Dunkirk. It's like some $800 trillion.
That better deliver, because if that has like some BS twisty Shyamalan ending, like I'll be really upset.
He's British. Why would he mess with that story?
Because all his every movie he makes now has some little moment at the end, and I don't want that. I don't need the really. Shyamalan does that. Stop it.
Nolan's not Shyamalan.
Yeah, but seriously, dude.
Shyamalan
Interstellar. When you get to the moment and you go, oh, really? That's what I've been sitting here for 2.5 hours waiting to get to? Seriously? With the bookshelf and the thing, really? With the pushing the books, that's it? Really, that's your big payoff? Stop it. Go away.
Dunkirk is not going to be like that.
I hope not.
It's good. What I'm hoping is here's what I'm hoping. Yeah. It's like, Midway or MacArthur, all those old school war films from back in the day.
Okay.
Like Gregory Peck.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so anyway, we're going to get to some television here in a moment, but first, I'm going to blow through a few other things. We got 3 Criterions and a bunch of 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays. Paris Belongs to Us from Criterion. Nice Blu-ray. Great classic Jacques Rivette film. Absolutely must be on the shelf for anybody who loves their Jacques Rivette and their French New Wave classics. This is a new 2K digital restoration. The movie's long. I mean, Jacques Rivette makes long movies, we should point out. If you've seen La Belle Noiseuse, it's freaking 4 hours long. And it's basically about a guy trying to paint a picture of a nude lady. That's a long stretch for a simple story, but it's amazing, and so you have to be ready to sort of make an investment with Jacques Rivette movies. So this is nearly 2 hours long, and the concept here centers around a group of disenchanted, disillusioned youths. Utes, and who are kind of held together by there's a suicide that brings these people together, and it is a fascinating look at a particular place and time and milieu of people in the life of Paris. It's very much it's very focused on a particular set of concerns that were unique to post-war France. But it is an amazing film. It is really, really beautifully made, and it is one of the most enigmatic of the early kind of new wave films. And then we have Clouds of Sils Maria, which was released on DVD some months ago, and almost immediately people were like, that DVD is crap, we don't like it. And somehow, very quickly, Criterion snatched it up and said, we're going to release it on Blu-ray. And sure enough, here we go, boom, beautiful Blu-ray of Olivier Assayas's Clouds of Sils Maria, which won an extraordinary César Award for Best Actress for Kristen Stewart, which I still can't wrap my head around.
First time an American had won it.
I know, it's amazing. Of all the actors, it would be Kristen Stewart? Really?
Well, we were saying before that I think she's forged an admirable career for herself. Yeah. I love this film, and Assayas, I do love his stuff.
He's good.
Part of me wants to just think he's just like a Euro douche. Just go away.
Yeah.
But I like his films a lot.
He's a machine, and he keeps making really interesting movies, and he's just got a lot to say.
Although you know what, there's something that happens to Kristen Stewart's character in this movie.
Yes.
That I'm still like, what?
I know. I agree.
Does anybody know?
No.
I'm being purposely vague.
Yeah. Well, in any case, it's very much an Olivier Assayas movie. It's got a lot to say about showbiz in particular and celebrity and all that. Kristen Stewart is very, very good. This is a director-approved edition. Blu-ray, Criterion, fabulous. And then the one you've all been waiting for, because everybody always hates this because it means, I've got to double dip again. I'm sick and tired of buying Dr. Strangelove over and over and over. How many versions of Dr. Strangelove can they release? I'm so sick of it.
I may not buy this because I have the Stanley Kubrick box set.
I know.
I don't know if I need this.
You know what? I would recommend this just because of the extras, because it is Criterion, because it's Dr. freaking Strangelove, and it is, it is approved and authorized, and it comes just with gobs and gobs of extras that I've never seen before. Interviews with people who are involved in the film, and from like camera operators, and it's on and on and on. It's just amazing. And short documentaries, stuff that I was not familiar with. So there's a ton of new stuff on here, and that's why I would recommend it. Does the film look better? Honestly, no, not really, because Kubrick restored the film himself. You know how he restored it, right? You know that whole story? When he found out that the original negative couldn't be located, he whips out his pristine print, and he sits down, and for like the better part of a year, he creates a brand new negative, one frame at a time, by just meticulously photographing, getting his camera out and sitting there and hooking it up on a rig and photographing each frame of his perfect pristine.
Why not just use his perfect pristine print?
Because he wanted to make sure that he was the one that was creating the negative. It's insane. It's like typical. It's one of those typical Kubrick stories. Like, really? With a still camera, you recreate it at one frame at a time? Are you kidding me?
But he was working off. The thing is that if he's working off a pristine print, if he takes a photograph of it, then it's one generation down from a pristine print.
Look, this is the lore. This is the story. You
see that.
Yeah. Anyway,
this, by the way, is one of my all-time favorite movies.
It's amazing. It's a masterpiece.
It really is. It's great. And Criterion, look, they've knocked it out of the park. They always do, and it's great. I just wish that this was not already part of the
I agree.
Stanley Kubrick collection.
I agree.
So if you don't have the Stanley Kubrick collection, or you're not interested in the Stanley Kubrick collection, and you don't buy this, then you should not listen to this podcast anymore, because this thing is a masterpiece and one of the all-time great films.
So we got a batch of new 4K Ultra HD titles here, all of which have been released before, except for the one that I'm going to recommend right now, which is absolutely dazzling. There are not that many titles out right now, but I got to be honest with you, Fox kills it with the Martian Extended Edition. The Extended Edition is pretty darn amazing. It's I don't know if it's significantly better than the theatrical release. I prefer it. It's a richer telling of the story. They should have released this one theatrically. Not quite sure why they didn't, but there you go. In any case, so we do have the Martian Extended Edition, 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and digital HD on the same disc. So if you want to really, really kick your 4K system into high gear, I guess this is the one you want to get. The rest of these I am middling on. Reese Witherspoon in Wild, which was one of the more disappointing movies last year, does not look like they put a lot of attention into it. I'm not sure what made somebody think that this would be a good movie to release on 4K. I don't see how that really, really wins any admirers to the format. Then we've got The Maze Runner. I guess that one is for, the teen set, although is Maze Runner really a big freaking deal?
That is not a TV. It's not going to make people buy a new TV.
No, it's not.
The Maze Runner.
Hitman Agent 47. Did anybody even buy this on DVD? Why?
No, it looks like a video game. It's based on a video game. It's
I know.
Terrible.
I know. These are the ones that make
no sense.
I
don't know why
sense.
they're not. It makes no sense what they
And
pick.
then this is one that I think they're probably they're just trying to clean out the stock. Fantastic Four, which is just it's just an abortion and an abomination and a horrible, horrible film. And they're trying to figure out how to do another one. You realize that? How to keep this cast together? Don't do that.
Well,
don't do that.
Or just give it back to Marvel. Have Marvel do it.
Let Marvel do it. Nobody wants to admit that Marvel just knows how to handle all this stuff better than they do.
Yes, 5 minutes of Spider-Man in the new Avengers film, whatever it was, Captain America, was better than like 5 previous Spider-Man films.
Totally.
From Sony.
Anyway, Fantastic Four. This feels like just something they're going to include when you buy your 4K.
No, but the thing is that when you go to Best Buy or wherever to consider buying a 4K player, and you think to yourself, I wonder what movies are available on 4K to justify this purchase, and they see Fantastic Four.
So, Life of Pi.
I love this movie.
Life of Pi.
Love
okay,
love
so.
It.
The thing here is, Life of Pi was part of the appeal with Life of Pi, and you liked it more than I did.
Love it.
Part of the appeal with Life of Pi was the whole 3D thing. It looks good in 4K. It's a very, very good 4K master. However, I'm not sure that watching it in 4K, I'm almost, even though I'm not a fan of 3D, I'm almost tempted to say, when you see this in 3D on regular Blu-ray, on a 3D like 1080p set, it almost is a truer representation of the film than watching it in 2D on a 4K set, if that makes sense.
No, it does. This is one of the rare films that should be watched in 3D. It was created to be watched in 3D. Yeah. Ang Lee won an Oscar for directing this thing in 3D. Yeah. And even though Jeffrey Katzenberg, earlier this week, he was quoted as saying that they blew it on 3D.
Yeah.
They had some good films on 3D, but then everybody rushed in to make money, and the public got turned off. But if you look at a film like Life of Pi, I'm telling you, it's a great film.
Again, the whole HDR, high dynamic range thing, I just don't know that substitutes for the 3D effect for which the film was intended. And then the last one is this is interesting. This 20th anniversary edition of Independence Day, ID4. Which, of course, why would they release that now? Because the sequel is tanking, and I guess somebody was hoping it wouldn't tank and that it would kick up sales of. People would go to see the new Independence Day and go, oh, I got to see the first one. What? Wow. It's out on 4K? Oh, I got to buy a brand new TV and a brand new.
That they would do that. Yeah, that strategy has been implemented for worse films than Independence Day.
It looks good. It looks good. 4K. It looks really good. I don't know that it looks that significantly better than a regular Blu-ray, but
this is a huge hit for its time.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love this film.
It's a fun film, except for Judd Hirsch. It's a fun film. I mean, come on.
Yeah. There's a brand new documentary on this, a brand new 30-minute documentary that's really, really good. This is both cuts, theatrical and extended. Doesn't make much of a difference. The one thing that I'm really sorry in watching Independence Day again in 4K, and I got to tell you, who's the unsung hero of this film in 4K, and you have to watch it in 4K to really appreciate how amazing his performance is.
The dog who jumps out of the tunnel?
No, Randy Quaid. Yeah, Randy Quaid just rocks.
No, Randy Quaid rocks now. There is nothing funnier than Randy Quaid and his wife, like on the run in a camper in Canada or whatever the hell he's doing to himself.
In his underwear, talking about the conspiracy theories with like a 9-day beard on YouTube.
He's a 9-month beard. That guy's out of his mind.
Yeah. wonder what's going on. And poor Dennis Quaid, whenever he does press events for any of his work, he's always asked about Randy. And it's almost like he has a statement. It's like taking the fifth, I will not. He almost whips out this little card and says, I love my brother very, very much. I hope he gets the help he needs.
It's funny, like how Randy.
It's like all he says.
It's funny how Dennis Quaid, that guy's ageless. He's he's got to be in his mid to late 50s.
Mid to late 50s. Dennis Quaid? Let
me see.
He's in his 60s. Look it up.
Let me see. I'm looking right now. He's still very handsome.
I guarantee you, Dennis Quaid is like 60.
Hang on.
Guaranteed.
Right now.
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid. Okay, I'm going to say 58.
Yeah.
62.
There you go. Told you.
62.
Told you. I knew it.
Crazy.
Good looking dude. All right, Mark. Let's knock out some TV.
Okay, we have Dark Matter, one of those stupid shows that sucks.
Yeah.
This is based on a graphic novel. That's so bizarre. Be based on a graphic novel. Wow.
Never happened before.
Unbelievable. This film is about this spaceship. They have a crew of about half a dozen, and they awaken from hibernation out in space, and they have no idea what the hell they are and who they are and what they're doing, what the whole point is. So they spend season 1 figuring out what their mission is, who they are. Lots of twists and turns to this thing. There's a big twist that, promises season 2 excitement, and season 2 is either airing now or about to air now. So yeah, it's I find this to be one of those like a low budget, good looking show, almost like one of those Canadian shows we always make fun of, where like the money is there, but somehow it looks like the retarded uncle of an American show. So it's a twisty thing that someone like, not me. It's okay, It's fine. Workaholics season 6. Now, this is one of those Comedy Central shows that shows up at like 4 a.m. and has a cult following. So Workaholics is a bunch of guys, and they're cubicle drones, and they drink beer and do crazy things, and there's a lot of weird counterculture humor going on here, and I can appreciate that. So Workaholics season 6, it's a cult thing. How to Get Away with Murder. It's funny how Shonda Rhimes had a moment, and now I feel like that moment's ending. Like I haven't.
It ends for all of them. It ends for Glenn Larson, for Stephen J. Cannell.
But she owned ABC's Thursday night.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, all right, she needs to replenish. The one thing that those guys did, it's like the CSI guy and the Law and Order guy, whatever. Yeah. They always replenish. Replenish another one.
Well, she's got the catch. She's got the catch, right?
Yeah, I mean,
she's got a few.
We'll see what happens with that.
Got some stuff.
But anyway, this is second season of How to Get Away with Murder. I don't know when season 3 premieres, but this show has been off the radar, so hopefully it'll get back, because it's nice to see like an African American woman be like literally own a network night. You know what I mean? With her great programming, I think it's wonderful. Rizzoli and Isles, 6th season. I think this thing is done. The final season is airing on TNT. This is one of those TNT shows where 2 interchangeable cop characters do things, and I don't know who they are, what they do, and I feel like TNT has got to get their act together, because all these shows to me feel exactly the same. And I don't care how much you love what's her name and the other one.
Who?
I forgot their names already. But they're interchangeable. Okay, you tell me which one's Rizzoli and which one's Isles. You don't know.
Not really, but
one is Angie Harmon and the other is not Angie Harmon.
I love Angie Harmon. I
adore
Angie Harmon.
There's nothing not to like about her.
She's
but
great.
Anyway, I guess if you're a completist, go for it. But if you're a completist, honestly, what the hell's wrong with you? Long ago show, 2 Guys and a Girl. This is a show that put Ryan Reynolds on the map, at least from a TV standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really stupid show. It's co-stars Jennifer Westfeldt, who I believe was...
It co-stars a bunch of people who have not made it. That's
wasn't
basically
Jennifer Westfeldt John Hamm's girlfriend for a long time?
You know what? All I know is basically Ryan Reynolds came out of this show and everybody else just disappeared.
No, but Nathan Fillion's in this thing too.
Yeah, they all disappeared. These people, honestly, if you look at the cast of this movie, you're like, hey, Ryan Reynolds and a bunch of people I've never seen them since.
Well, this is the whole series, 2 Guys and a Girl, on DVD, and you've got to be really in love with Ryan Reynolds to check this thing out.
Okay, here's a bunch of weird stuff. So there's this three episode parody thing called Really Weird Tales that was essentially kind of an SCTV deal from 1987. It's out from Kino Lorber, and it is just a really unusual slice of bizarreness with Joe Flaherty and Martin Short and John Candy, and Catherine O'Hara, and it's very unusual. It's like basically a Twilight Zone spoof in 3 episodes. It's very, very peculiar. I'm not sure that it's very good, but it's just, if you like SCTV and all those people, you're going to enjoy it. Shark Week. Why does this keep happening? Why? Who watches this? Jawsome Encounters. This is 13 episodes of just freaking sharks, and it's none of it. It's the same over and over and over, and they scare people, and they bite cages, and they get close-up photography of their teeth, and they show you how horrible and evil these animals are. And then you're reminded that there's a Blake Lively movie out, and that nobody's really improved on Jaws. Alaskan Bush People, seasons 1 and 2. Welcome to the Wolf Pack. This is 14 episodes of this very strange show, which it seems to all grow off of Duck Dynasty and Dirty Jobs and Ice Road Truckers and all those things that say, you know what, let's just go see how the lowest tier of human beings are barely sustaining their lives above sustenance level somewhere in the most inclement conditions on the North American continent. Where can we go that life is just a freaking hellstorm? Oh, I know. Let's go and see the Alaskan Bush People. There's nothing. They're like the Duck Dynasty people, except they don't have any money. That's kind of it, and they live in Alaska, and that's it. They live otherwise like mountain people did 150 years ago. It's a very strange show. Tony Braxton, the movie event. Oh my goodness, I don't know who thought this was a good idea. This is directed with great effort by Vondie Curtis Hall, who I really, really like a lot. I've always liked Vondie Curtis Hall. You remember Vondie Curtis Hall in Falling Down?
Oh yeah, he played the
economically not viable man. That's what he was.
Was that his billing in the credits?
That's his billing in the credits. Economically not viable man. He's terrific. Vondie Curtis Hall, he keeps trying to make a go as a director, and he winds up with projects like this, which is just basically a TV biopic about Tony Braxton based on her memoir, which is whatever. It's fine. It's nothing great. It doesn't why is Tony Braxton that big of I don't know, whatever. But anyway. A little bit of Canadian money got this thing made, and I hope Vondie continues to get projects in the future. I just it's tough when you get handed stuff like this, but anyway. And then the wonderful Dwayne Johnson, who is probably just about the only.
I like him. He's charming.
Yeah, it's about the only. He's not The Rock anymore. He's Dwayne Johnson now. He's let go of the whole Rock thing. He's about the only reason to see Central Intelligence, which I had to review on radio. By the way.
I passed.
Yeah, you know what? It's all about the chemistry. That's the only reason to see
I don't
it.
get the whole Kevin Hart thing. I'm just not there.
You know what? He's fine. He's good. He's funny. He's clever. He's amusing. And Dwayne Johnson is really good, especially with in the little bit at the beginning with this big prosthetic fat suit. Very, very funny. But otherwise, just the chemistry. Anyway, this is Ballers, the complete first season. Legends don't retire; they reinvent. This is the HBO original series that he starred in, which is perfectly good, perfectly fine. All about football players trying to sort of work out their place in life and whatnot. Something that Dwayne Johnson, obviously, having a football background, has a great deal of experience in, and he's really good in it. And you know what? It's one of those HBO shows where you just think, this really shouldn't work. This shouldn't be as good as it is. It shouldn't be sort of as effortlessly dramatic as it is, but somehow it is, and I don't know what HBO's secret is, but they just make these things work.
They do. They're a factory. Although they canceled Vinyl. They might be having a little bit of problem there.
That was weird. I mean...
Because they picked it up and then they canceled it.
And yeah, what? Has that ever happened before?
No, and I have to say it's almost like the thing we were talking about with Disney and Rogue One, where you feel the cracks are showing a little bit.
Yeah.
With HBO. Anyway, X-Files, the event series, and the event series is another way of saying 6 episodes, and if you watch it, we'll make more. And I guess they will. Now, did people like this? It's 14 years after the end of the original, and if you like the X-Files, you'll be so happy to see Mulder and Scully back together that you'll like this too. I thought it was fine. There was a bunch of monster ones, a bunch of UFO ones. Part of me was like, it was nice to see them, but then I felt like their time is over, and they really had nothing necessarily interesting to say from a modern standpoint.
Yeah.
In terms of, folding modern issues and modern themes into what they're investigating, but maybe people don't want that. They just want Mulder and Scully to not have sex.
I suppose.
The League is a show that does stuff. It's the final season. People love the show. It's another cult show. It's although the only one is really, I'm not sure which of these guys ever broke out to mainstream success. Really, I don't think any of them.
No,
anyway, so the League, you gotta love that. Angie Tribeca. Now, this is a show, first season. This is EP'd by Nancy and Steve Carell. This is very much trying to be a new Get Smart. I have to say that I did laugh. I thought the show was funny. Very hit and miss, very scattershot, but at least it's out there trying some fun, crazy stuff. It's on TBS. So I don't know. This thing is coming back finally. It took a while for them to pick it up, but I don't know whether it's really ever going to really get any traction, but I thought it was funny.
Oh, well.
And then Major Crimes is a show on TMT, complete fourth season. I have to say that this is a show that I've never heard of until this DVD crossed my desk. So it's a cop show, and TNT does a lot of cop shows. We talked about Rizzoli and Isles a little bit earlier. And what can I say? It's it's an elite squad of cops. They investigate all sorts of stuff in downtown LA. It's all gritty, and they work with prosecutors and law enforcement officers and is going through all the details. I just think that these shows are become a dime a dozen. I think that they must be, like USC screenwriting school must have like a special
for cop shows.
They must have like some special minor for cop shows.
Yeah, I guess
because they crank these things out by the millions.
I know. Yeah. Alrighty, and wrapping out the TV, got a few from MHZ Networks. Remember, not megahertz networks, MHZ Networks. Got 3 new titles from them, 2 different series. Season 5 of Spiral, which is a French series originally called Engrenage. That's why it's not called Engrenage here, because nobody would know how to pronounce it. Anyway, really, really tough, great, smart, well-written, well-directed French series. I gotta be telling you, Mark, I've been watching a little bit of the series Marseille on Netflix with Depardieu, and as someone who used to live in Marseille, I do not find it that compelling, I have to admit. It does not really reflect the city that I lived in and that I enjoyed so much. But Spiral is pretty great. It's just dark and intense and heavy and brutal and really relentless, and which is unusual for a lot of French shows like that. But just murder, and it's just murky, dark, horrible stuff. Very, very tough going a lot of the time, but really good stuff. That's a 4-disc series, season 5 of Spiral. And then French Village, seasons 2 and 3, which this is basically like a almost Downton Abbey-like show, which is really cool. It can't possibly really last more than about 5 years. It's all about a French village during German occupation, World War II. And it adheres very closely to the timeline of World War II and what's happening in each year, and how it integrates that. And you see the war reflected in the microcosmic look at the people's lives in this little village is amazing. It's really, really well researched, well written, beautifully done. Season 2 takes place 1941. Season 3 is obviously 1942. So things are going to get very, very interesting very, very soon. If you know all of what what happens in France in each one of these years, once we get to D-Day, it's going to be very, very interesting. So A French Village continues to be a fascinating, beautiful, beautiful series. And thank you, MHZ, not megahertz, for all that. And then the last 3 titles: Underground, season 1 from WGN. Got to be honest, Mark, I'm getting sick of slave stories. Mark? Yes.
So am I.
I'm getting sick of slave stories. I really am. It's just too much. 12 Years a Slave and Django, and now suddenly, we've got a new thing of Roots, and then we've got Birth of a Nation coming out, and Underground is basically about the Underground Railroad. It's just I get it. It's a smart series. It's generally pretty well done, but I can't. It's just too much. There's an accumulation that you at a certain point you just kind of get sick of. And then Maude continues to pop up seasons out. This is Maude, the complete 5th season, the All in the Family spinoff, which starts to run a little bit thin in the 5th season. It feels as though there just isn't enough to Maude to sustain for this many seasons. But anyway, 24 episodes, no extras, 5th season of Maude. And then lastly, the fantastic Richard Boone series, Have Gun Will Travel, is now out in a complete series box set, 225 episodes, 35 discs. Beautiful, beautiful set. It's heavy. It's a paperweight. It's a brick. But you know what? It is one of the coolest Western series from its era. And it's just great. You know, Gene Roddenberry wrote on this show, and a lot of great directors from the era. A lot of fantastic guest appearances. It's one of the great shows of the 1960s. It's really cool. And Richard Boone, kind of like the poor man's Charles Bronson, fantastic TV presence. Have Gun Will Travel out there, and beautiful, loaded up with production notes and all kinds of cool information, cast biographies. Not a lot of no commentaries or anything like that, but a lot of really great kind of information on the legendary show from the 1960s. There it is, Mark. We're done.
Yay!
All right, folks. So for those in America, have a great 4th of July weekend next week. And anybody else who's watching Euro, allez les Bleus. We want France to win. Home team. Come on.